Hey, it's Cam. Last time I talked about relationships. This time I'm going to talk about mental health and what I learned in 28 years. So let's get started. Okay, so this morning I made a list and I would like to stick to this list. Hopefully it's not going to be too long. It's kind of hot. I do have a top underneath this, but I'm not going to take it off because I have the AC on, so it wouldn't make sense. But it's kind of hot. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I am 29 years old. I'll be 29 in a few weeks. Today is the 14th. Oh wow, today's actually Ferragosto, but let's skip that. So yeah, in a few weeks I'll be 29. Could you have guessed? Because every single time I go places, people don't believe me, which is okay. It's in my favor, and honestly it used to bother me a lot. Like, now I'm owning it because it's like, why would I even care? Why would I even care what you think? Well, not you, but I'm just saying, like, why would I care what people think about me? Like, I've been holding on to, like, what people think about me so heavily for 28 years. It's like, let stuff go. Why don't I just let things go a little bit more to gain my sanity again? Okay, so mental health. For one, since I was a little kid, it was really hard for me to understand things. Reading has always been hard for me. It was tough, honestly. Every single time I'd read, I couldn't understand. I couldn't really understand. But the thing is, it was I was contradicting myself because I couldn't read. But I could write a lot. Like, I've always been able to write a lot. I've always been this incredibly passionate person about my feelings. Always, okay? Since I was a little kid. Although, when I was a little kid, every single time I'd feel something, it'd be too much for me. Like, in my heart, it'd be too much, so I had to write about it. I had to paint. I had to, just express my deep feelings through something, through activities. Creativity, whether it was writing. But I was really good at writing. Although sometimes my feelings would be too much and I'd feel really bad in my skin. Like, it'd feel I wouldn't like the way I feel, the way I would feel growing up. So yeah, it was tough, but I couldn't understand. With friendships, it was really hard for me to keep friendships. I honestly have never known how to keep friendships. Like, when I was a little kid, maybe because my mom, would push me, but now as I grown up, she don't push me no more. She doesn't push me. She doesn't need to push me, even though, yeah, it's good for your loved ones to push you to, get out there a little bit more, which I think it's good. But you just have to master how to make friends. Like, I just have to master. I feel like this list is explaining to you how I'm rewiring my brain, so that way I don't have to keep living the life I am not happy with. I'm very grateful and happy with my life. I feel like for the longest time I didn't have a purpose in my life, and now with therapy, of course, it's helping me a lot. Like I said, mental health is super important to me, and I'm a huge believer. It is very important for you to, get out there and explore things, so that way you can understand how your brain works. But as I was saying, it was really hard for me to keep friendships. Even as a grown-up, I didn't know how to communicate with people. I've always had this thing that people don't believe me, people don't understand me. I've had this massive belief in my head that people could not understand me. Also, I got my nails done. They're still short, of course, but they're mine. I'm letting them grow. Yeah, ADHD kicking. But so yeah, it was really hard for me to make friends. It's always been hard. I've always felt just too uncomfortable to get that close to somebody. Although I've gotten close to somebody a few times. There was 2 girls growing up I got close with, and then the 6 years relationship I was in a few years ago. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's really late, so I'm kind of tired. So if I'm messing something, just don't worry about that, you know. I can make mistakes. It's okay to make mistakes. Okay, so yeah, as I was saying, it was really hard. Then, like, I feel so much to the point like it hurt. It hurt my skin. It hurt my bones. It hurt everything. Okay. At the age of 12, so in 7th grade, one of my teacher, she told my parents that, listen, your daughter does not understand what she reads. She never gets her assignments, her homework done. We don't know why. I did not want to do my homework. I've never been interested in homework ever in my whole life. Although I've been interested in a few topics, not homework. I feel like homework has always been something put upon me that I had to get done. Like, I never found learning fun. I've never found learning fun. To me, it was like something upon me, like something put upon me, like teachers, you do have to do this. That's how I've always felt. I feel like somebody's always been trying to control me my whole life, and I just don't like loss of control. That's my character. I don't like loss of control, because it keeps me sane. It keeps me grounded, and I've read that a lot of earth signs are like that. And as I'm reading more often, I'm getting to know these things more, and it's like, that's so fascinating. So yeah, and my parents never really listened to that lady because they were afraid. I think they never wanted to face the reality, I guess. Because, like, my motto is, like, face it until you make it. And a lot of people think fake it until you make it. I don't think you should fake anything. I think you should face whatever is bothering you, whatever, like, sit with your mess. And I feel like even adults, now that I'm adult, I sit with my pain a lot. Like, I think everybody does, of course. Everybody does. And it's like, I don't know, maybe my parents were going through stuff back then. They didn't want to, like, accept whatever was going on at that point, in that time period. I don't know. But they never believed the teacher, even though the teacher said there's something off about this little kid, y'all need to, like, send her somewhere, you know, to learn how to, you know, read and understand things. Like, she needs a psychologist because she can't really comprehend. We don't know if it's an emotional blockage. We don't know if it's actually structural, you know, blockage, whether it's, you know, she's got some ADD, some ADHD, you know. Although I've always shown signs of ADHD and a little bit of, on the spectrum, a little bit. I've always shown signs like that. Yeah. So now, as a almost 29-year-old woman, I am observing how these past 28 years have been. And I would like to make it sense why I never had a purpose, why I felt like I never had a purpose, why I felt like there was literally something wrong with me. Like, why can I not learn? Why do I always learn everything I wanted to? Also, mind you, growing up, I've always been interested in older people, like hanging out with older people, like significantly older people. Like, I was like 10, like, I don't know, 15, and I was interested in hanging out with grandparents or very younger people, like, you know. So these are some signs that, like, I was never interested in my peers. Like, I'm telling you, like, to me, friendships did not make sense to me. I've been craving a friend my whole life. I think friendships back then did not matter to me, because these people, like my peers, they were talking about, like, nonsense. I was like 16, they were talking about, like, heels, makeup, I don't know, freaking boys. And talk about everything I was not even interested in. Either I would be interested in science or, like, not even psychology, science, mainly science, like fun facts about science, geography, I don't think history, a little bit history, but, like, more science, not mathematics, just science, just learning things, you know, random things. Or I'd be interested on the total opposite, kids. I've always been interested in kids because I think I love kids because I think they're super cute, but I think it's also because I think everything starts when you're a kid. So I think it's beautiful to help kids. I mean, that's just what I think now as an adult. But before, when I was a little kid, I think it was relatable to me. Like, I don't know, I was 10 and I'd be interested in hanging out with, like, kids who were 5 years old or 4 years old, you know, and watch, like, Teletubbies. So you could see there, you know, I had some differences. You know, I was not interested in my peers, more so. And now everything does make sense. My therapist told me I am definitely a neurodivergent person. So now it does make sense that I have been acting the way I have, and it feels empowering. It feels good. I love it. It just makes sense. So, yeah. My therapist told me that I don't have, like, also I noticed that, like, I've always noticed that about me, how I don't have practical intelligence. I don't have very practical intelligence, but I have pattern recognition intelligence. Like, I have that high. I don't know how to explain it. I have that very, very, very high. If I'd have to be, like, in a city, I'd completely lose myself. I wouldn't lose myself. I would know how to get home. But I don't like crowds. I don't like stuff like that. To me, that's triggering. I've never, ever, ever, ever been comfortable in crowd. And I rarely put myself in crowd. I just have this, like, massive anxiety that it's, like, overwhelming, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's super anxious. I feel super anxious, like, here. It's bad. But it's something I, of course, want to learn. Yeah. So she said I have very high pattern recognition. She had me, you know, take a bunch of quizzes. I'm still going, of course, to therapy. And, you know, there's different kinds of intelligence. But I would say I don't have the practical intelligence developed, although I would love to develop that. Hopefully I will. I mean, I'm here talking about it. That means I'm manifesting that out there in the world, and hopefully that can happen. Okay. How I feel. To be honest, some days I feel very, you know, upset, because it's like, what if my parents did listen to that teacher? Like, what if I had a different life? What if I, you know, been in a actual position nowadays, instead of like feeling like a total failure. Oh, also, mind you, in high school, I failed a bunch of classes. I was also failing years, and I've been feeling like I was behind than everyone else. Practically, I was. Like, yeah, just practically when it comes to like homework and stuff like that. Like, I'd be so behind, or like social gatherings. Also, I want to say that since I was really bad in school, I learned to put this facade of being a clown, like a total clown in class. I'd be, the center of attention, like, and I would steal the show. Like, I had to be, in the middle and like in the center and like give it a show. So I feel like I've learned that for the longest time, to be liked. I guess that's the only thing I could do right in my eyes. For society, that was the only thing I could do right, and it wasn't. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand this. A lot of people don't get this. There's many kinds of intelligence in this world. The brain holds different kind of intelligence. But yet, why are we so stuck with school? Because the world is made for normal people, not people like us. A little here and there. And it's not a negative connotation, it's just unique, I'd say. But let's skip that. So it was hard for me to, do homework, and I was always wanting to be the center of attention because that's the only thing I could do. And I'd feel proud of myself, for standing out like that, So, but now that I learned, I've always known, to be honest, but now I can talk about it. So that's something big. Yeah. But as I was saying, how I feel, sometimes it makes me feel a little bit upset, because it's like, if my parents did listen, what if I had a better, schooling education, I don't think so. I mean, I would have had support, I'm sure, but I think my thoughts are pretty valid, my emotions are pretty valid. But the fact that I am right here now sitting and voicing them out loud, this is a huge step for me, because it shows a lot of growth. It shows wanting to grow. It shows putting myself in uncomfortable positions, even though it's hard, because it is hard. It is hard believing in yourself when nobody believes you, or maybe people think you're just playing around. Moving on. Okay to be imperfect. As I said, growing up, I've always felt like I wasn't good enough because of also school, because kids also gain self-esteem through good grades. I was getting 0. I was getting an F every single time. Every single time. I was like 6 years old, I'd get F. I was 8 years old getting F. That happened my whole schooling year. All of them. I definitely had no self-esteem. So just imagine that. Of course, everyone goes through something, but I'm voicing this so that way it could help you see that your life is not this mess that you put out to be, or that you think it is, because it's not. Yeah. So it's okay to be imperfect. It's okay to just fail, but it's okay to also get up and try a billion times. Ways to therapy. So I do believe we gotta create healthy ways to to make our brain feel less complex. And I think people can discover different ways of therapy, even themselves, by watching a movie, by painting, by doing a bunch, like literally do anything that makes you happy, because only then, but you know what you're into, you know what you like. So of course, knowing what you like, it keeps you grounded. It keeps you, okay, I'm focusing. Because the thing with ADHD or being on the spectrum or like neurodivergent, you tend to keep your thoughts on a higher level. Like, you might not be good when it comes to like grounded activities, like doing homework, going to school, paying bills, keeping a job. You know how to do these things. You just cannot keep them because your thoughts always bring you higher. They always do. So either it could be, I don't know, reading a book or writing a letter to whoever, like literally your own ways. And that could help you. It's helping me. Growing up, I never knew how to play video games at all. I never knew how to play video games. I did not have any hand-eye coordination whatsoever. I did not know how to build things. It was too overwhelming for me to build things. It was so overwhelming. I hated it. Every single time I built things, it made me feel like a piece of jello. Because I'd feel like, why can I not do this? Well, my therapist told me to be creative with my mind, whether it's creating something. And I'm very, 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 very super passionate when it comes to Legos. I love Legos so much. And chess. She says to play chess because she understood that my brain works like a chess. Do you think I had zero knowledge on how my brain was. I had no idea. I've always struggled understanding my brain. I've always struggled knowing what was wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with my brain. There's nothing wrong with your brain. Nothing. Of course, there's a few cases that, then it's like, okay, we gotta be careful. There's nothing wrong with your brain, or with my brain, really. So I never knew I had this thought process. I never knew. I knew I've always been a thinker, but I've never knew I had this kind of like process. The way chess works. I think like that. It's pattern recognition. Do you think I knew anything about this? I was like, what is this? I knew zero. So find your own therapy. Of course, still go to therapy if hopefully you have the resources, either it's money or, the possibility to seek help. I hope you do. And I think there should be more, mental facilities, and I'm not saying, hospitals, but like mental facilities, whether it's, I don't know, like free therapy. Why not? That's cool. That helps people get better. Support is everything. I firmly believe support is everything. If you support something, if you support someone, that's the best thing you can do. Whether it's your friend, your family member, like anybody, you should support people close to you. They deserve that. They need that. Because you don't mess around with the mind. If I break my leg and it's pretty visible, everybody's like, oh my gosh. Sit down. Grab your chair. But if someone's like literally on their last nerve, they're like, why are you acting like that? Why are you looking at me like that? I do believe mental health is very, 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 very important, and people should take it very, very seriously. Socializing is important. As a neurodivergent person, I tend to isolate myself. I've always done that, like I said even before. I was playing with kids, and then after 2 hours, I'm like, I need to go. Also, when I was 16, I was part of a group, and we were like, I don't know, 16 to 20, 30 kids, something like that. I dance because that would make my brain feel like crazy, because I thrive off of dopamine and like chemicals in the brain. That's how ADHD works. That's how it works. So I was always dancing. I've always loved dancing. After dancing, I'd laugh a little bit, like say some dumb jokes, and then I'd go. Like I'd separate myself from that environment because I couldn't stand there because I was, getting people's energy, and I didn't like that. It'd be too much. It'd be so much. Also, everyone was drinking. It's like, why are you drinking? You're 16. Like, why are you smoking? Why are you smoking weed? You're 16. Like, I have never understood this. Like, also, I'm very rigid when it comes to, this, but that's the other topic. So socializing is important. Just because, and here it's the rest. It's okay to rest, but adapt in being uncomfortable. Put yourself out there. Okay, just because I tend to isolate myself, that does not mean that's something I have to keep doing. That's something I have to grow out of. So the only way for me to grow out of that is to push myself. Even though it feels uncomfortable, I should want to push myself hard. And I'm not being hard on myself, but I am being hard on my habits. So that way my habits can change the way I think. So that's important because we are very, very, very social creatures. We need each other. Everyone needs each other. Faith. I feel like I want to cry, but I ain't gonna. I mean, it's okay to cry because, Jesus has done a lot to me, for me. So, it's good to shed a tear every once in a while. So, I thank God. I thank Jesus that my faith is strong today. I was never a believer. I was always going to church because, my mom said, let's go to church. Not even that, but I had to go to church. So, I am so grateful that my faith has just gotten stronger over the years. I am so happy. If it wasn't for my faith, I wouldn't be sane. I would not be sane. Because I'm a very sensitive person, and we all know sensitive people take things to heart very, very, and to heart and to brain, very, very heavily. So I thank the Lord and thank Jesus for getting me through this journey. Praise to Jesus and to the Lord. Respect. So something I've been wanting to learn recently is respect given or earned? Is trust given or earned? Because if you trust so much, you're like, why are you trusting so much? Like, be careful. If you don't trust, dang, can you lower those walls? Like, I mean, like, you don't know what to do at this point. You don't. You're like, what am I supposed to do? Just count the sheeps? I don't know. I just think that I've learned throughout the years that it's okay to be cordial, like have courtesy to like respect people, be good to people, as in like nice, have manners, of course, but don't respect everyone, just because they're older or just because they are doctors or teachers or whoever. You should treat everyone equally. Just because that person has got this thing, this mansion, this car, I'm not gonna respect you more. You're literally the same person as that person who lives down the bridge. I think that person's smarter though. Just kidding. So I just think respect should be earned. Right. Of course, manners, I'm such an advocate for manners. I grew up with manners. My parents, my mom get mad if I wasn't acting right. So that's good. Gratitude. Faith helps you in your life. Of course, it helps you daily, but it helps you like in your life. Gratitude, it's daily. Once you are grateful every day of everything that happens to you, you will feel so much better. Because if you're not grateful, you're not going to be positive. Positive people have the most fun. Because, like, you have to think that, you don't have to do anything. I think that no matter what happens, people are going to, like something's going to happen in their life that it's like, dang, it'll be a shock to them. And it's like, why wait for that moment, whether it's death, whether it's losing someone, whether it's a heartbreak, whether it's like illness, I don't know, something like that. Did you hear that? So, I don't know, I just think that, I think it was a car outside. I don't think you should stop being grateful. I don't think you should stop being grateful. I think you should always be grateful. I don't think you should, like, brush it off as it's something given. Like, oh my gosh, whatever, I'm going to have a good life no matter what. No, you're not going to have a good... I hope you do. But it's like, it's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed that you're going to have a good life. So, I just think that helps us daily. And it's honestly good, because if we're not positive, we're just going to complain every day. It's like, why would we complain every day when life could be fun? I also need to learn that. I am preaching that, but I need to learn that. And sometimes I get lost in the moment, be like, oh, and then emotions get the best of me. I like this t-shirt. That's Lolita. Lola. But, yeah, sometimes my emotions get the best of me and makes me feel very bad about myself. So I should learn, which I'm trying to. Recently, I've been very, very super interested in metaphysics, like spirituality and stuff like that. Oh my gosh. I love the unseen. Like, I love the fact that I'm not just a body. I am a soul. And I feel like I'm using my brain to express my soul. Because every time you're talking to someone, not everyone, but sometimes people, they let you inside of their brain when they talk to you, like I'm doing right now. And I think it's beautiful that through the brain we can, like, express who we are. We can express our soul, what we're passionate about. Like me, metaphysics. Okay, so I'm interested in that. And then okay. This is something that I'm learning now. I think I've always known, but I am putting into practice now. Learn how to make yourself happy, because it is a state of mind. I personally believe it's a state of mind. When you make yourself happy and you don't rely on anyone else's but yourself, you are going to thrive. Sometimes it may feel a little bit off, because it's like, why am I laughing by myself? Why am I laughing with my own thoughts? Am I there? Am I crazy yet? Am I not crazy? Like all these questions that you keep questioning, that I keep questioning. No, there's no reason for me to think like that when I am learning new ways to rewire my brain. It's just like what I'm trying to do. It's like I have this, and I'm literally, this is the brain, okay, and I literally turn it around and see what it can do, what it can't do, how it is. And I am analyzing this brain of my 20 years of life because I want to rewire my brain to make it work in my own favor instead of always having anxiety and being stuck in my anxiety. I don't want to be stuck. I don't want to be stuck in my anxiety. I want to grow. And hopefully with this video, I'm putting it out there, hoping it can help someone, but ultimately it can help me. As I was saying, happiness. You should make yourself happy. You should never rely on people's happiness, although we all need each other, but I think people should add onto your happiness. And yeah, I just think that it's beautiful when you know how to make yourself happy instead of people. I think that's a sign of strength right there. I think that's a sign of strength because a lot of people are so emotionally dependent from people, and I was too. That's one of the reasons why I was so upset when I broke up, and still am. Some days I'm very upset when I think about I'm not longer with my ex-boyfriend of 6 years. Because he was like the ground I was walking on. He'd keep me so down, on the ground, that I didn't have problems. Yeah, he had his own toxic traits, whatever, but he was the center of my ground. I honestly never trusted. I don't trust people. I don't trust people. But I did trust him. And I've told him many things that not a lot of people know. That not everyone know. Not anybody knows things that I've told him, but I did tell him, and because I trusted him. And he felt like home for the longest time. And even though he felt like home, he was still toxic. So people can feel like home and still be toxic. Of course, 100%. But yeah, as I was saying, don't jump. This is just my opinion, but it's best for you not to jump to relationship to relationship, because you're always going to be let down. You're always gonna they're gonna let you down, voluntary, involuntary. They're going to let you down because that's how people are, and that's also okay. Period. Oh, my tummy. You aren't the only one. When you're going through something major in your life, whether it's negative thoughts, intrusive thoughts, you're not those thoughts. You aren't those thoughts. It's not your fault that you're having those thoughts. People have thoughts. You can think of anything in this world. You can think clearly of everything. That's okay. You're not the only one. Just because you're thinking certain things that your past version isn't used to, because this new version is different and it's trying to grow, it's okay to think things. It's really okay. You're not the only one who's thinking them. You're not the only one who's having negative thoughts. And I feel like right now I'm projecting that to myself. I'm talking to myself. I'm projecting that onto myself. Because I do that. I think about something, I get scared. I'm like, why am I thinking about this? This is scaring me. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. Why am I thinking like this? Why am I believing this? You don't have to believe everything your brain tells you, by the way. And I have such a bad habit of believing everything. So you're not the only one. if you're going through some depression, some serious, like, I don't know if you're pregnant, I don't know, like, you're not the only one who's going through that, through a hard time. Many people are going through the same problems as you are. It's just they don't talk about it. People don't talk about things. People don't. I wish they would. I wish people would talk about them. And for the longest time, I was always good at writing, but I was never good at talking. Now I want to be good at talking. Expressing what I have to say to out there. Because this is a way of learning too. Of expanding your brain, because before you can do it, now you can. Okay, addiction and vice. This is a topic I don't want to go deep into, because as a neurodivergent person, I don't know why I want to be perfect. I want to be perfect all the time. Also, I'm a Virgo, so maybe that's why. I want to be perfect all the time. So I don't smoke. I don't do anything like that because I'm not the kind of person. But if you do have an addiction, I'm gonna stop this video and make a second part.